Hey everybody, this is Scotty with Sketchy's Garage. Today we're working on the Mean Green Chevelle. The task at hand is we want to get the frame out from under it and get it sandblasted and painted. But before we can do that, we need to pull off this front suspension. We'll do that. I'll do that off camera because that's pretty boring. And then we'll pull the frame out from under the car. One thing to keep in mind whenever you're doing a restoration or doing body work or working on any car with a full frame is if you're replacing sheet metal panels, make sure you got the car sitting on the suspension, and if the car's got body bushings, make sure you got the body bushings you intend on using. Don't leave the old body bushings in there and then put the quarters on, that kind of stuff on it. Hang the doors and then go in and change the bushings because it's going to lay the way your panels are going to sit. So whenever you do that kind of stuff, just make sure you got the bushings that you intend on using, and it's very important that you got it sitting on the suspension. So I always try to either have it sitting on jack stands or have it sitting on its wheels and tires. Say if you was to do it on this lift the way it's sitting now and you was hanging that quarter panel, whenever you set it down on the ground, it's probably going to push this point right here up a 1/8 inch or so. So if you already got it up the 1/8 inch and got your gap looking good, you got nice clearance, you set it down on the ground, most likely it's going to be touching the door real tight to the door. So you just want to keep that kind of stuff in mind. It's just little stuff like that I've learned over the years that can save you a lot of heartache and a lot of headache. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this front suspension stuff off, and then I'll come back with you. Okay everybody, I'm back. I'll show you a quick couple things. I got the front suspension off. Whenever you take that stuff apart, I always like to put the nut and bolt back in the spot that it goes. That way when we send it off to be blasted, not only does this get blasted, but you know where your hardware is, and when you go to grab it to put it back together, it's already been blasted and you just got to paint it. Makes it a lot easier. And a lot of this stuff, this hardware is very specific. Like you couldn't just go to the hardware store and grab a bolt for that. It'd give you problems. Same with like these right here. So you just want to keep that in mind. It helps you keep track of stuff. Something else, if this has been on and off the body a couple times already, but if you was just fixing to pull this off for the first time, you want to make sure you get into these areas right here and go ahead and get some lubricant on them. I usually like to try to do it a month before I even get started on it. Start spraying them down real good. It'll save you a lot of headaches. Like this one right here, you can spray up in this hole pretty good to get this cage nut right here. These back here, same thing, it's got a little hole. You can get up in there and get some spray on it. And then right here, same thing. WD's got that little tip now that's flexible. It's really handy for doing stuff like that. I already pulled half the body bolts out, but we'll pull the driver's side out so you can see what it is. Something else is when you pull this stuff apart and you already got new stuff, just make sure you keep track of it really good. Don't want to lose it and have to buy a whole set just because you're missing 1 or 2 bushings. Alright, I'm going to use a little impact to pull this apart because like I say, it's already been together and apart a couple times. If this was you just pulling it apart for the first time, you should probably shy away from an impact. They like to break the cage nuts. So use your best decision making there. I'm gonna go ahead and bust this apart. One thing you want to make sure you're very mindful of is make sure that you got the frame supported. Don't pull all the body bolts out and then be lifting the car up by the pinch wheels because the frame will fall out. Seen a guy do it with a derby car one time. he was having one of those what was he thinking moments. Like I say, make sure you try to grab all your rubbers when you're pulling it apart. It's easy to forget about them, and then you'll pull the body off and this will fall, and then it'll roll back up in there and you'll forget about it. So I try to keep track of it, each one to take out. The Chevelle, they got six body bushings on each side, and then they got one bushing right here that's just like a cushion. So I think some of them may have a body bolt there, but there's always at least a cushion there. Alright, now we're just going to take and set the lift down, and we're going to set the frame itself down on the jack stands. We'll let it down some and then position the jack stands. I'll tell you this about a lift, I know it's a big expense, but if you mess with cars in it at all, after we got our first one, me and Pop was like, we should have done that 15 years ago. There's no excuse not to have one. I think I picked it up for $1,000. The guy was moving, so they're definitely well worth the money. I know $1,000 is a lot of money, but getting up and down off the floor for a week would be like, well worth that $1,000. Down on the frame on the jack stands, I always like to give it a little jiggle before you get too far off the lid. That way it'll fall. It'll fall right there. Get a good visual inspection. Make sure all your jack stands are under the frame. Position the lid where we can grab the paint wheel. You want to try to get as far out on the rocker in the front and back as possible. Kind of off center here a little bit, but we'll go ahead and put a strap across the bar. Make sure they don't go nowhere. Get it almost to the bottom. Check out where our head 2 or 3 inches. Kind of take a visual inspection, make sure you ain't got no cables, brake lines, or gas lines hanging up. Put a little shim there to make me feel a little bit better about it anyway. We're going to take a strap and we're going to strap it at that front post. The other guy that works here, he's sloppy as can be. Me, I'm very particular about keeping the shop very clean. That other guy, man, I don't know about him. You might have to let him go. I just like to take a strap, run around the car, and the pad on the lift. Go ahead and crank it down. That way if the weight gets a little bit too back heavy or something, this has got it to keep it where it doesn't go up. Should be. She's locked in there good. We'll go ahead and finish raising this up, and that'll be that. Alright everybody, that's how you get the chassis and the body separated from one another. We're going to go ahead and get in here, weld all this stuff up, then we're going to blast it, paint it, put the motor and tranny in it, and be doing burnouts before you know it. Thanks for watching.